Okay guys, just wanted to make a really quick video just showing how I changed the blade on my bandsaw. Other people will do it differently, and I by no means pretend to be an expert in any way, so if anyone can actually show me how to improve the way I do it or set up, then I'm open to all comments. But this is just for people that just bought a bandsaw, just to try and help them out a little bit. First thing I do is give it a good clean the area, make it a bit better, less dust. And I always wear safety glasses whenever I'm handling a bandsaw blade, because if they ping, they're obviously sharp. So the first thing I do is remove the cover. At the moment there's a 1/2 inch blade, ripping blade in there, and I want to put a 14 CPI 1/4 inch blade in there for tighter radius cutting. This bandsaw is an old Naerok saw, where you can get 3-wheel and 2-wheel bandsaws. Some of this will be applicable, some of it won't, but the setting up of the guide system is pretty much the same on most of them, albeit with a few small differences. So first thing I do is get the tools together that I need, which for this is a 6mm Allen key and two 13mm spanners, one of which I've actually filed down, which allows it to fit in there. The original nut or bolt system that sat on the top of there, the threads stripped, so I've had to modify it slightly, so I'll have to make a spanner to fit it. The first thing I'm going to do is take the tension off the blade. Not massively, just enough so I can get the blade off there. There's a bolt underneath the front of the table here as well. And then because I'm putting a totally different blade on, what I tend to do is I'll just back off the guides. If I was just changing it out for the same type of blade, then I probably wouldn't actually do this. Off with one. While the cover's off, I always give it a good clean. I'm going to put on this 1/4 inch blade. Now that's on there with enough tension to hold it in place, but no pressure as such. And then I've just roughly sat it central in all the wheels, making sure that it's sitting in the right place and not caught on anything inside the guides. The guides here, everything's clear. So first thing I'm going to do is increase the tension. That's better with some light now. So all I'm doing is I've lifted this up a bit, got us some better lighting, and I'm just increasing the tension. There's no real pressure on the blade there, it's all done by feel. One good guide that I did find, she wants approximately 1/4 of an inch deflection in the blade there. Well, I've got a little bit over that. Same in there, there's just over 1/4 of an inch deflection. If you go too tight, you'll just snap your blade. It's a fine line, every saw is different. Then all I'll do is I'll just give it a spin, make sure it's running fairly freely. And then now to adjust the setting on the side, the tracking. Alright, now when I turn this wheel here, you can see the blade sat on the top there. All I'm going to do is adjust the tracking so the bulk of the blade is sat on the centre of the tyre, on the raised bit on the tyre, which it's like a dome. And that's about right. I'm just going to give it a little bit more tension. So there's no excessive tension on the blade at all. Can still move it freely there. I did read when I first started setting them up that you wanted it to be tuned like a guitar. No, the blade snap. Learned that the hard way. Right, so now we've got that set up, on to the next bit. Okay, this is the most important part, setting up your guides. There's 3 parts to the guide. Obviously different bandsaws will vary. They're all the same theme. The more extravagant bandsaws have more precision guides. This one's quite basic, but it does offer adjustability, so it's best to get it right. Now, the first thing to do is the side guides. Now, there's a lot of thought and a lot of forums and notes that I've read where it says you can put a piece of paper between the guide and the blade to get the exact tension. And if you've got a setup where you can do that with precision, then that will be the best way. But I can't get total precision with this, so all I'll do is I'll push it up against the blade, back it off a tiny bit, push the other side up against the blade, back it off a tiny bit. That's just a little tight. And that's free running with just the tiniest amount of friction. And then I'll slide the main back guide forward until it's touching. I can just see it moving the blade. And again, I'll just back it off at that. Then all I'll do is I'll free spin and make sure that that back guide is turning but is not actually pressed tight against the blade. And then the bottom is exactly the same. So I'll move the back guide forward till it's just touching, and then use the side guides. That's just a little bit too tight, so I'll just back it off a bit. Back to the top. Give it a spin. Still free spinning, there's no major friction there in any way. Then I'll put the cover back on and give it a twirl. Alright, so make sure all my tools are out the way. remembering to put this in, otherwise you won't get straight cut. The table will flex. And I'll get something to cut. Make sure your guides are as close to the workpiece as possible without obstructing it. First thing to do is just start it up. There's no excessive friction there slowing it down, so I'm happy with that. Everything's still where it should be, and it's just making a test cut.